Yo, what it do, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. And if this is your first time joining us, this is Phantom Frequency, where we dive into the entire multiverse of pop culture, movies, TV, anime, all different types of genres all the time. So make sure you're dropping down below the video, clicking all the buttons and showing that love and support for the channel. Make sure you join our positive and awesome Fandom Frequency community today. But today we're diving into my all-time favorite live action TV series of all time. I have watched this season at least 5 or 6 times before this, but we're diving into this again in anticipation for the release of Daredevil Born Again on Disney Plus. Essentially, Daredevil season 4. Us Netflix Daredevil fans have been wanting this for a very long time, and now we're going to be diving into the original season where it all began in 2014. And let me tell you what, guys, I never was a huge Daredevil Marvel Comics fan necessarily. Haven't read a single, or no, I wouldn't say that, but I haven't read any whole storyline of a Daredevil comic series before. I was aware of the character. I liked the design of the character, thought he was cool and all. But the 2000s movie with Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner and all that definitely was far away from really capturing the essence of the character or really seeming cool at the time, just as a movie in and of itself. So I just wasn't into Daredevil growing up. But with this series on and coming up in the mid 2010s when it dropped, there was a lot of anticipation after the first trailer dropped, and it looked like a gritty crime drama noir type of thing going on. It looked like they were sticking to the Frank Miller Daredevil Man Without Fear and stuff like that, where he introduced characters like Elektra and Bullseye, the Born Again storyline, all the classic stuff that Daredevil has kind of become known for in the world of Marvel Comics was represented and being adapted in this series. And obviously, Elektra and Bullseye and all that other stuff wasn't in season 1, obviously, this particular season, but it was teasing that Frank Miller vibe, that dark vibe. And Netflix is known for having its gritty television. And this is back when Netflix was really just hitting its stride with the TV series. This is a couple years before Stranger Things dropped, but after Mad Men and House of Cards and stuff like that. I think Orange is the New Black was still on at the time. And this is before a lot of the other new wave of Netflix series and kind of became the powerhouse streaming service that they are. This is one of those formative shows that really did that. Marvel didn't have their own, streaming thing at the time. For some of you youngins out there, you Gen Alphas and young Gen Z, you Zoomers out there, this is back in the days when Netflix had the Marvel licensing, so that's how they released Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and Iron Fist, and the Defenders crossover in the future after this particular season as well. In the past, but in the future from when I'm talking about. We're time traveling, y'all. But for reals though. And I was not familiar with Charlie Cox's work at all, who ended up becoming Matt Murdock, aka Daredevil himself, and a lot of the actors and performers in this, minus Vincent D'Onofrio. I wasn't actually familiar with anyone in this cast, not the woman that Deborah Ann Wall, the actress that plays Karen Page. I can't remember the name of the actor that plays Foggy Nelson, but he was in the 90s cult classic Idle Hands, but I watched that after I had seen Daredevil, so I was late to the party on that one. And so I was really introduced to these actors for the first time in the series. The actor that plays Ben Urich, all the characters. And I think everyone did such a phenomenal job at capturing the essence of the characters. And I remember watching that first episode when they dropped all 13 for the binge model they're known for today. And I was completely blown away and couldn't believe how into it I was. No Daredevil costume. He's wearing the kind of homemade black ninja-ish kind of costume that he has going, and that's directly from the Frank Miller run as well. But the way that they adapted into the series and put it in context for what's going on totally makes sense for a vigilante just trying to wear something simple and dark that he can kind of hide in plain sight a little bit. And just getting to see the way that Charlie Cox was able to really bring the character of Matt Murdock to life in such a phenomenal way is amazing, and the Catholic guilt that he feels and the angst and all of the trauma and loss that he's had over the years in his life, becoming an orphan after his father was murdered and being abandoned in a sort of way from his mother as well. And there's just so much great, rich character building with this character and character development throughout this season with Matt Murdock, and the shades and the grittiness and the overall charisma that Charlie Cox brings to the role of Matt Murdock in this show has always been fucking phenomenal. And all the acting across the board is phenomenal, especially in this first season where people like Vincent D'Onofrio and Deborah Ann Wall are really establishing these characters for the first time, and important supporting characters and antagonists in the whole Daredevil lore, in the Marvel lore, so to speak. And the way that these actors are able to really dig into these roles and really make them so three dimensional and so nuanced and layered, especially with that of Vincent D'Onofrio playing Kingpin, aka Wilson Fisk. I think he does such a phenomenal job at playing the menacing, the crime boss, kind of bringing some of that Sopranos energy to it, but also at the same time, really making him feel larger than life and really bringing that comic, accurate kind of feeling to the Kingpin as well. But the way that he's able to play the character in a sense to where you do understand sort of where he's coming from, you do understand him as a person and what kind of shaped him into what he is. But at the same time, he's done some fucked up shit and he's definitely gone a step too far. And you'll definitely see the level of depravity and violence that he's willing to go to in order to make a point, in order to get his revenge on somebody, in order to defend himself, all of that and the above. And it's a tragic story that he comes from and a tragic background that he comes from, but the way and the person that he becomes is such a despicable person at the same time, you're not really quite sure how to feel. And like many people have mentioned before, Vincent D'Onofrio is definitely one of the best actors of this modern era, and I think this is his defining role with on it, beyond a shadow of a doubt. And I think that's the same for a lot of the actors in this series, man. And the way they're able to bring out classic Marvel characters like Ben Urich and really give him a great supporting role in this. And even though he doesn't make it all the way to the end of the season, he does a great job at leaving a lasting impact within the story and the way that they're able to bring all this stuff to life, man. And all the creatives and everyone behind the scenes that were working on this thing did such a phenomenal job at adapting the source material for TV and bringing a lot of the classic elements from the comics, but finding a way to make it work within their narrative, but also find a way to make it tie into the overall MCU that it is a part of, even though they couldn't be as overt as they are today and as they're going to be in the latest season of Daredevil Born Again under this new creative team in the Disney Plus first mature kind of banner that they're doing over there. But at this time, I felt like they were able to tie things in very good and subtle ways and really connect you to being in between those phases 1 and 2 and really establishing itself as being a part of the universe. And if they wanted to make it a part of the universe in a larger and more kind of bigger way, they could have easily have done so, and I think they did a great job at establishing that, but not relying on it and making it have its own feel and being completely unique within the comic book, movie, or TV adaptations. And to me, it's still one of the best adaptations of any comic book ever, and might be the best in my opinion overall, because it really just feels like the comic brought to life. It doesn't really feel too detached from it in any way, and the way that it's able to do these crime noir and able to shoot these incredible action scenes even before John Wick popped off, I think was super super duper impressive. Especially that hallway fight that has become beyond iconic at this point and has been copied and tried to be emulated over and over again in the 10 years. 11 years now since this show actually premiered, and I think that's just beautiful, man. And just all the choreography and action throughout the entire series was awesome, with the fights between Matt Murdock and like Nobu, and all the different things going on and the different situations he finds himself in, whether it's close quarters, whether he's out in in the middle of a parking lot, in the middle of an abandoned warehouse, on top of a roof, wherever he's at. It's awesome action scenes going on, especially with the character of Matt Murdock, of course, and getting to see some supporting roles from some of my favorite actors as well. People like Rosario Dawson getting to come in here as Claire, aka Night Nurse, who's also another character, not pivotal, but definitely a staple of the street level characters in Marvel Comics, and definitely ties in with all these Luke Cage, Daredevil, Punisher-esque characters as well. So the way that they were able to kind of use her in a Nick Fury type of way and kind of make that the connective tissue between all these Netflix series was really awesome, but was firmly established in this Daredevil series, and I don't think was ever done any better outside of this series at all. And I love the relationship with Rosario Dawson's character of Claire Temple with Matt Murdock, and the little fling that they have and the attraction that they have to each other, but their differing opinions and ideologies on life, what's right and what's wrong, I think is a great way to bring conflict between those characters and really establishing their bond and really using their disagreements and agreements and the way that they help each other out in situations of where their lives are on the line, and they use all of this in a beautiful way to really make their relationship very complicated but very realistic and very relatable at the same time, in a way, even with situations of things that none of us are ever going to get into. So once again, I think it's just phenomenal storytelling and phenomenal character building that they're doing within this series. And all the actors from top to bottom have amazing chemistry with each other as well, and really makes this world feel lived in. It really makes it feel like these people that do have established connections with each other really do. And the characters that meet, firmly establishing those new relationships with each other, really makes you buy into it and really makes you fear for people's safety. And the tension just continuously rises throughout the entire season, and I love that. And it never feels like at one moment Matt Murdock's really ever ahead or really in a safe place. And with him having that conflict of trying to use the law to fight to fight the corruption and fight the bad shit within the system, but at the same time having to kind of break the rules in order to effectively use the law in a sense to also catch him up, I think is such a great dichotomy and almost contradiction within and of itself. And that to me is just great storytelling right there as well. And yeah, man. So overall, this has always been one of my favorite shows and probably is my favorite live action show ever. I absolutely adore this first season of Daredevil and the whole season in general, but I still think this first season is definitely top notch and I think the best of the three. And like I said, Daredevil Born Again is right around the corner from this review. Hopefully, by the time you're watching this, season 2 will be about to drop my review for that. And then I'll be dropping season 3 probably right around the same week that we're going to be getting into Daredevil Born Again, or the week of the second episode. So by the beginning of March, you should have all 3 reviews of this Daredevil series leading into the premiere, which we'll definitely be talking about and breaking down for Daredevil Born Again. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end of this video. If you did, we have plenty of other Marvel content here on the channel, so click the card and click the playlist and dive into all that good jazz. And until next time, make sure you stay safe out there, and we'll catch you on that season 2 review or any of the other dope content here on the channel. And until then, much love and peace out.